What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dirtyshore Underground. Tonight we're back in the studio. A lot to talk about tonight, going back to music, but first, let's go to Rob with the links as soon as he's cracking up over here.
Oh, good afternoon, everybody. All right, so you want to make sure that you check out DirtyshoreUnderground.com. New episode of this podcast every Thursday. And bonus episodes whenever we feel like it. Make sure you check out Dirty Shore UG on Twitter and Facebook. We're going to tweet out live links to the live stream. As always, we are streaming live on YouTube.com. That's YouTube.com/C/DirtyShore UG-OTA. Come in, join the conversation, be part of the live stream. We welcome all comers. You can be actually part of the show instead of just watching it. The live stream of the video will be back up on Thursday, as well as the podcast itself. So you can always go to youtube.com/C/DirtyShore UG-OTA to watch the video instead of just listening along at DirtyShoreUnderground.com. Make sure you are adding us on your favorite live stream, or your favorite RSS feed, whether that's Dogcatcher, Stitcher, iTunes. If you're listening on iTunes, make sure you give us 5-star review and make our 5-star rating and give us a review. Helps to boost us up in the ratings and get us into the top where other people can discover us. So you want to make sure that you're spreading the word by telling your friends and also by doing what you can so more people will listen to the podcast and join us all here. So, I think that's everything.
Cool. First, I want to hear from Karina a little bit about your book. Without going into great detail, we'll do a full review after our neighbor reads it. That way it doesn't get spoiled for everybody.
I don't know how first of all, she needs to just not listen to the podcast because she needs to finish the book. But yeah, so what'd you think?
Fucking crazy. I thought it was crazy. Like, the first 5 minutes into the fucking book, he's killing somebody.
Well,
I mean, you told me he kills people.
yeah, I told you it was bad.
You told me he killed people.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was going to be the first fucking 5 minutes of the book.
Like the very first scene of the book.
Yeah.
Well, not true. Because the first
gonna...
scene of the book, he's in the office. And then he just goes and kills somebody.
The same difference, because
Yeah.
he leaves the office to go kill somebody.
Right.
And then goes back to the office like nothing ever fucking happened.
Right. And the thing that was like...
What I want to know is how the fuck he's a lawyer and he's killing people.
My favorite reaction is that I had my phone on me like I always do, but I wasn't paying attention to it. And like I go to it and I see, what the fuck is wrong with you? Which immediately puts me on the defensive of like, okay, shit, what did she find out? Who told her something? Okay, trying to figure out who talked to her. I'm like, okay, what should I deal with here? And then I got the other one, then I noticed there was another one from before, from like 40 minutes before, and I'm like, oh, she finally got the book. She's reading the book. So, but yeah, what did you think about the description, especially that very first one?
Which one? What are you talking about?
That first scene, 5 minutes in, 5 pages in.
I don't know, I kind of thought you were writing about yourself, like what you want your life to be like.
Want my life? My life is like... Sure, yeah, let's just say. Maybe people should give me a healthy bash of respect, because maybe I'm a psychopath who murders people.
She did tell me that we're not allowed to be friends. You know?
Oh yeah, I did say that.
She was like an hour into it. She yells at me from the back, Kenny, come here! It's like, what? She was like, we can't be friends with Rob no more.
Which part of it were you reading when you said that?
Oh my god, I can't even remember. Oh, I can't even remember now for the life of me.
Alright, so let me ask you. Are you Team CJ or Team Kennedy? Don't give away the end. Don't give away the end. But are you Team CJ or Team Kennedy?
Okay, let me tell you how my path of thinking went.
Okay, without giving too much away.
The receptionist's name was Natalie, right?
Yes.
I was Team Natalie. And
you, like everybody, thought that Chris was going to hook up with Natalie.
Together. I was Team her at first, and then I was Team CJ, and then after all the shit started happening, I kind of went Team Kennedy, and then I was just like, fuck it, Team CJ.
Well, and so, like, I really wrote it because I wanted people to realize that there's, like, a little bit of all of those women in every woman. Like, there is a little bit of I want to be the wife, and I want to be respected, and I want to be treated well. And then there's a little bit of I want to be blindfolded and smacked around a little bit and treated a little rough. Fucked on a balcony 10 stories up, hanging out into space.
That's not rough, that's fucking crazy.
That's not even the worst of it. By the way, any thoughts about all that?
if he ever asked me to do any of that shit, I'd punch him in the face, throw his PlayStation out the window, and tell him to get the fuck out.
I'm guessing this is 50 Shades of Grey on crack.
It's American Psycho meets 50 Shades of Grey.
Gotcha.
But worse.
It's not even 50 Shades of Grey, because I've read all the 50 Shades of Grey books.
Worse.
Yours is 50 million times worse than 50 Shades of Grey.
But it's not worse in the description because it's not graphic. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a
horror movie.
No, it's not. Okay, the horror parts are actually pretty graphic. The scene with the water tank, I thought that's one of my favorite things I've ever written. The girl in the water tank. But the sex, it's not like he takes his throbbing member and thrusts it into her. Like, there's almost no description of sex. There's a little bit of description of foreplay, and then there's them talking about what happened.
But you end up in the erotica section on Amazon.
Well, yes, probably justifiably so. I don't know. Was it erotica?
It didn't say it to me when I went.
No, it's in the erotica section. If you search, yeah, it's in multiple categories, but one of them is erotica. But again, it's not it's erotica because I think when you read, I always put the sex in the chapter jumps. So at the end of a chapter and the beginning of the next chapter is what happened before. So you never really get the sex. What you get is like a little bit of the foreplay and then a little bit of the afterplay.
Yeah.
Like a Cinemax movie?
It's a kind of a Skinemax. It's kind of Skinemax overall. Although a little graphic for that. But
Playboy TV.
More graphic than that. Again, it's 50 Shades of Grey, but without the cheesy bullshit in between. And a little more intense, I think.
Spice Channel.
Oh
nah.
my God,
Is that still around?
How the fuck you know all these damn channels?
I don't know.
Yeah, right?
Like
Okay,
you didn't watch
I'm not
Ramble
going to
TV
say
when you
what
were young.
happened at the end, but I can't decide whether the ending pissed me off or surprised me.
Well, and here's the question. The ending isn't really an ending. I'm just going to say that. Because what you have is one of the characters guessing and making assumptions.
Yeah.
We don't really know. But what I will tell you is that another book that's coming will answer that question.
What book is that?
Oh, you have to wait and see. This is the thing. If you read one of the books, you need to read all of them. Because what I'm going to tell you is that I built a universe with 5 books. All of the characters from all of my books all exist in the same universe.
Does that
I'm
mean
not
I'm going to have to
reading
read...
Insurrection. That one seems like it'd be boring to me.
And maybe it will be, but then you won't know the answers to the questions.
Does that mean I have to read everything other than the...
How?
No, because everything stands alone on its own.
Okay.
But, so for instance, there's a reference in there to one of the Easter... And did he explain to you what Easter eggs are?
I tried to. She didn't really get it.
Okay, so I put, in every book that I write, I put in Easter... You know what Easter eggs are, Matt? Okay, so... Harry, Easter eggs? Yeah. Okay, so Easter eggs, for those who don't understand, are things that they're hidden items or hidden things that aren't really hidden. They're there in plain sight, but they only have meaning to people who already know.
Just like the, what was it? I like the reference you said. Just listening to, he popped out his headphones, listening to the 2 guys in Maryland's podcast.
Right, so anybody who knows me would know that I'm clearly making a reference to myself and at the time me and Corey's podcast. But that's an Easter egg, because if you didn't know me, you'd just be like, it's a throwaway thing that doesn't make sense to anybody. But if you know me, you're like, he's talking about himself in there. So there are no less than 7 of those.
Oh, a lot of times when I was reading the book, like, it would...
Well, you know me,
yeah,
so
I
you
know, it would make me jump back to you. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, and here's the thing I'm going to tell you. The fucked up shit is that every one of the sexual encounters in that book is a true story from my life. That's how the book started. The book started being written as a semi-autobiographical book about that. And then it turned when my assistant and I had a conversation about how I jokingly was like really pissed off and I threw a file up against the wall, which is what happens in the very first scene of that book. And I was like, I gotta get out of here. And she was like, where are you going? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna go kill somebody. And she laughed and she was like, we both know you don't have it in you to kill someone. And I was like, what if, though, there was this guy who had this whole secret life where he really just liked to kill people? and that's how he blew off steam, was to go kill people.
Well, eventually it caught up to him.
Kinda, but not really.
It did, because now he's pretty much, I don't want to say an indentured servant,
Meh.
but
But that's why it's going to play so well in the rest of the universe, which is why I'm saying...
Do I have to read it?
You don't have to read it. All of the books...
Can I just read the rest of the books after the book I've read?
Yeah. Or you can read none of them. I mean, really, all of them stand alone. Did that tell a story, a complete story by itself?
Yeah, but now I want to know what the fuck happened.
So the Calls will tell a complete story all by itself. And Insurrection...
The Calls doesn't tie in with...
Insurrection?
No,
Yes, it does.
How?
I know, you have to read it and then you'll figure it out.
Because he had crazy sex life in college.
Well, no, but it's okay, so they're all tie-in because I wrote them all, but there's character tie-ins, there's references to other books all throughout all of the books. So, Insurrection has references to Foe. Insurrection was the first one that I wrote. It has references to Foe. And then the next one I wrote after that was Insurgency. And Insurgency is the sequel to Insurrection, and it has references to both Foe and Insurrection. And then the Calls has references to all of them. And now I'm working on other stuff that has references to all of the other stuff that I'm working on. I'm building a universe where all these characters exist
That
at
sounds
the
like
same
way
time.
too much.
Well, I feel like I said I need to get a whiteboard so I can keep track of where everyone is at any one time to make sure my timelines stay all consistent.
You can't do that with your
a
phone?
year. Huh?
Can't do that with your phone?
Well, no, because it's way easier if it's all big and visual, and I can say, okay, if I'm writing in the year 2006 and I'm telling a story about this guy from 2006, I need to know where all my characters are in 2006, because if this guy, for example, this guy runs into, not that this is a thing, because it's not the thing, but guy goes to high school with a girl, with a really cute blonde girl.
I broke the outline, I think.
And she jokes about how her dream job is being a stripper. And he was like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I've always really wanted to be president. And she's like, president? Why would you want to be president? And he's like, have you ever heard the speeches of John Kennedy? They really inspired me. And she says, Kennedy, huh? I like that name. So now, for anyone who's read just that book, that means nothing. But if you've read Foe, you can be like, okay, so in 2006, this little blonde girl who talks about being a stripper, who likes the name Kennedy, we can infer might then be the little blonde girl who 4 or 5 years later meets Chris at a strip club. And she's a little blonde and her name's Kennedy. And she convinces him that her real name is Kennedy. So, you know what I mean? So that's how the Easter eggs work. So.
See, I thought she had left on her own.
Who, Kennedy? Well, then don't give too much away. I mean, maybe she did leak on her own. Here's the thing. You don't know. There is a very strict where we don't know what happened. Well, you will if you read Insurgency. You'll know what happens. But for that book by itself, you don't know. Everything, it stands alone right there. But it's... Any of the scenarios that are played out could possibly be true. And then Chris doubts them based on different factors, but any of those could have played out and been true. What do you think about the gift that he got them all? Again, fucking so devious, but that's like one of the best things I've ever thought of, I think.
That's so fucked up.
It really is, but I mean, you know, how betrayed would you feel like if that?
Oh, I'd be so fucking pissed. I would be so fucking pissed.
If you thought it was something unique for you? Yeah. Everybody's sitting out here, they don't understand. You guys, if you read the fucking book, you'll be able to participate in the conversation.
Well, this is what's supposed to get me to the point of wanting to read the book and hearing about your sex life, so...
Okay, so... I don't know how much detail you want. It's not a lot. Okay, well, I mean, so...
So you've legit pretty much beat the fuck out of a woman while having sex?
I have had consensual sex of all kinds. One of which being...
Beating the fuck out of a woman.
Consensually,
Some women like that. They like being beat.
Some women like that.
They like being choked. They like being tied down, handcuffed, whipped.
All of those things, yes.
Spreader bar.
Spreader bars. Although they tend to get in the way.
Yeah.
But Hanging out of a 10th story window or a balcony.
You've actually done that.
Yes.
That'd be
Giving a
pretty
thumbs
proper,
up to a guy who leaned out the window 2 doors down. Yes. That is a true story of something that actually happened.
You could drop her ass.
Yeah, but apparently that's what she liked about it. But no, so literally, her idea, not my idea, her idea. She's sitting on the balcony, and the inside of her hips are inside the bar or whatever, and she's got her feet hooked up into my shoulder blades, like up here, with her feet like across my back, and she's holding on. She has her hands out, free, just hanging out there. If you've seen the picture, if you want to look up Faux, F-A-U-X on Facebook, you can. The page right now has the top image is basically what you can envision. So she's feeling loud as shit and just hanging out into space, like literally hanging out into space. And this guy leaned like 2 rooms over. I'm like, this is fucking amazing. And this guy, I see this face like lean out and just look, and I'm just like. And he's like, "Whoa," and he like shuts the door and goes back inside. Like, that is legitimately something that happened in my life. Every single one of those stories is true.
Matt, would you read this book?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't even know anything about Ralph Seckler.
Would you read this book?
Sounds interesting.
So I mean, so here's the thing. What kind of books do you read? Okay, Matt can't read. So.
Oh, but Matt can't read.
But no, if you read books, what kind of books would you read?
Mine's not like anything about it. Put me to sleep.
Okay. All right, so.
And since Rob Biggs, we can have him try.
What kind of? So, other than that, like, what kind of movies interest you? Let's say that.
Oh.
So have you seen American Psycho?
Yes.
Okay. You liked American Psycho? All right. So imagine American Psycho. You didn't see 50 Shades of Grey then.
No, fuck no.
But obviously you know a little bit about that
What
kind of
straight
lifestyle.
man goes watch that shit? Did you watch it?
No, actually I didn't. I did read the first like 10 pages of the book, and the book sucked. So.
Did you watch it, Kenny?
American Psycho?
No.
50
50
Shades
Shades of Grey.
Unfortunately.
Did she make you watch it? Okay, again, so
Lucia, let me say something.
this is
The
man's
movie
version.
is
That's why-
nothing.
That's why 2
compared to
days
the book.
later I posted the meme about 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
About all the girls loving the movie, but then they don't want to try none of the
I didn't
twisted
really
shit.
like the movie all that much. I'd rather the book.
I think the book sucked, but that's just because the book wasn't written very well.
I read the book all the way through.
It wasn't written very well, though. It wasn't. It was written very. And I'm a snob. I'm a book snob. So, but you liked American Psycho, right?
Yeah.
What did you like about it?
I don't remember.
Alright,
He doesn't
I got-
want to talk.
I got one question before,
Okay.
one thing to say before we jump into music, because
Yeah.
I've noticed we're jumping up to 4 and 5, and I think people are
Looking for that.
expecting for the music.
Yeah.
Don't get mad. You ever had been with a girl that wanted you to cut them while having
Yes.
sex? Okay.
Yes.
Alright, glad I'm not the only one.
And not. I think
Way
it's
before I
statute of
met you,
limitations,
don't worry
probably.
about it.
But yeah, there is only 2 things that I have said no to a girl. There's only 2 girls I've ever said no to, ever in my life. Neither of them was that. That I'm okay with, for the most part. Although I did a lot of research to figure out. Actually, I probably should. Wish I had known you then, because I could be like, all right, so where is safe, and where am I going to get something important? So I settled on a general rule I found, which is when skin folds over, you're generally okay. Like elbows, there's nothing very important there. Anytime the skin folds, you're probably not going to hang anything important, and if you don't see any blood vessels on the surface, you're generally going to be okay. So middle of the arms, you're usually all right. So anyway, and it doesn't bleed very much. But I did have, and I don't know if it ended up in the book. I'm trying to think. There's so much good stuff in there. So much good stuff in there. But there was a girl who wanted me to. She said her parents were out of town. This was in high school. Said her parents were out of town for a week, and she didn't want me to tell her what night she was coming. What night I was coming over. But that the window in the back bathroom would be unlocked all week, and that I should break in with a mask and just surprise her at some point during
The
the
rape
week.
scenario.
Yeah. And I'm down for, like, play where, like, it's like, all right, you ready? Good. Okay, I'm going to go out the door, put the mask on, and come back in. I'm okay with that. I'll go that far. I'm down for basically whatever if the girl's into it. not down for the climbing in the window with all of that. That's
Too
too
much
much.
effort.
Too much effort.
Plus,
So instead, I just told my boy that she was home alone and.
plus
told me
on
to go.
the
I'm
whole.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. That did not actually happen.
On the whole random side of it, if somebody does break in and tries to rape her, they then take it to you.
Yes.
Mm.
So anyway, I told her no. The only other thing was there was a girl who would literally not say no to anything that I asked her to do, and I did really, really fucked up shit to that girl. Stuff that I'm not proud of. And so I just had to end it because there was like I need some pushback. I need you to say no about something. The opposite of that's like Karina who says no about everything. I can't deal with that either. But I
Don't
need
say no to everything.
But I need to say no to some things. And at some point, you just gotta like, okay, it's not even fun for me. Like, it's
Which,
not,
how the fuck would you even know?
I was just busting your balls. Jesus Christ, you get him all worked up about it over there.
Alright, so right before we get into music, do you want to have him try this flavor you made up?
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So what is it? Is this peach?
This is a peach and mint.
Alright, because I'm not
It's
a big
not
fan
crazy,
of peach.
It's not a mint. It's not a
Don't
crazy
hold it
mint
too
either.
long.
Okay,
That's more than what you're used to.
okay.
Yeah.
More
It's
nicotine or
Well, it's less nicotine than what you're using. What are you using? 6?
6? Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
More vapor.
You probably didn't get that much.
I didn't. Oh, that wasn't so
Try it
bad.
1 second.
Actually, I don't really like peach, but that's not that bad.
Okay.
I like the mint mixed in with it, I guess. Mm.
Yeah, it's a different kind of mint. It's not like strong like a spearmint or
I
wintergreen.
want
It's something called
A
Kuala.
mocha
That tastes like
coffee flavor.
Southern, not like Southern Comfort. Peach schnapps. It tastes almost like peach
Well,
schnapps.
he's supposed to
Okay.
beat you up a
Yeah.
Kahlua flavor eventually. So.
But I got one question about your books. What
Yes.
would you say your writing style is comparable to? Like me, I cannot find a really. It's hard for me to like. I like to read, but it's hard for me to get into a book. Like Fitzgerald bored the hell out of me because he would
Yeah.
take two pages to describe what a chair looked like, pretty much.
Right.
Hemingway, Steinbeck are really like my main 2 authors. Hemingway being my favorite because he's just very direct with it. And they're short stories. They're not really short stories, but they're long enough, but they're not 600 pages long. It's a nice, it's a good enough read that you can get into, but you can kind of catch up with all this stuff with it. What would you say you're comparable to?
None of them, just because I am not nearly as good as any of them. But stylistically, I aim for like 65,000 words. So that's
Okay.
on Kindle. It breaks down to about 290 pages. In paper, it breaks down to a little over 200, like 240.
Okay.
I do the Steinbeck very short chapters, so 4 or 5 page chapters or less. I like reading those books because it gives you a lot of places to break. You can like read a couple pages and stop if you want, or you can be like Karina and just read it all in one sitting. The biggest compliment I've gotten is people who said that they just can't put it down, that I build up the chapters so much that you want to keep going to the next thing. But if you like, my books are good, I think, for people who like movies, because I like to think, and Karina can correct me depending on what she feels like, but I like to think I'm a very visual writer. So I don't get down into the detail. I let you fill in. Have you seen Inception?
Yeah.
All right. So my writing style is Inception, where I will set a stage. I spend enough time setting the stage, and I give you the basics, like info. Kennedy is short, skinny, blonde, stripper type, and CJ is taller, redhead, pale skin. But you're filling in all the details. I'm not like getting into and her bone structure and her eyes and any of that stuff. And on the cover of Foe is not a guy I pictured as Chris. But after I saw the picture, I showed it to some people and they were like, "Yeah, I could totally picture Chris being that." I didn't picture him looking like that at all, but they did, and I was like, "Okay, well that works then. If this is what you saw, then
You
that's
honestly
how it
want
works."
to know what I saw Chris as?
What's that? Me? Yeah. And people who
What's Chris the lawyer?
Chris is the main character. Chris Bishop is the main character of the book. But so it's visual, but it's not. It's
At some points he would morph to look kind of different, but at some point it always went back to looking like you as the baseline in my mind.
Right, but so I like to keep chapters short. I like to spend. Oh, see, there's the caption of the picture. I had it on that first page.
Okay.
So that's the picture I have on the front is the hanging out to space. That's like not a real picture. I didn't take that picture, but that's basically what the situation was like. I want to read you like a real short piece from it because it'll give you an idea. You don't have the book on you there, do you?
It's on the tablet.
All right, you can totally cut this out.
Here, give me the tablet.
No, I got it right here. I have the picture. Okay, so here you go. This is a single chapter. This is a chapter from Foe. Oh, that's not a good one.
Why don't you just read the first chapter? Like because the first one is enough to.
We don't want to go that far into it.
No, the first chapter's not even that long though.
Yeah, none of the chapters are that long.
It's enough to make you want to keep reading though.
I know. And this conversation should be enough to make people want to check it out. To read the first chapter.
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 Chapter. The chapter.
Yeah.
Get to the chapter.
There you go.
All right, so I can't find it, so I'll read this bit.
Here, do you just want to read the first chapter?
Nope. This is chapter 2. All right, so this is chapter 2.
Give us a paragraph.
It's real short. He must have had a temperature. He felt as though he was burning up. He was sweating. His hands were trembling as he fumbled for his keys. Finally, he slid behind the wheel of his car. With both hands on the wheel, he gasped, trying to catch his breath. The engine fired up, and his tires squealed as he left the parking lot. He went racing through the small streets downtown and headed towards the highway. He smirked to himself as the golden arches swept by the window just before the on-ramp for the highway. There was a time in his life where that would have been the destination. He would have eaten himself until he was stuffed when he was upset about it and abusing himself. That wasn't his way anymore. When he hit the highway, he really dialed it up. 60, 80, 100 miles an hour. Sometimes the rush of driving that fast could bring him back from the edge. The engine wound up as he pushed the accelerator down, but the 4-lane road didn't give him the exhilaration that he needed. The brown and black of the state police cruiser flashed by in the closest of the oncoming lanes. It was time for Chris to get off the road. He quickly crossed 2 lanes of traffic and exited back onto a 2-lane road. The trees in the early fall had foliage mixed of green, orange, and red, flying past on both sides. His heart still pounded in his chest, his vision was narrowed, and the wind whipped past the open windows, did nothing to cool him off. He didn't see the stop sign until the last possible moment. He slammed on the brakes and the car lurched to a sliding stop. The intersection was a T, and he looked over a steep drop into a field. His front wheels teetered on the edge, and he had to throw the car in reverse to get back to the stop line. The rush cleared his head for a minute, and he took in his surroundings, but he already knew where he was. He could have predicted it. This was not his decision. Would he give in, or would he not? To the right, he would head towards her house. As much as he didn't want to, he knew what that would result in. To the left, he would head back to the highway, back to work. The engine idled lightly. His hands worked the wheel as if he was trying to give it an Indian burn. He leaned back and closed his eyes, taking a deep breath and exhaling slowly. When he opened his eyes, the car was already moving. He had taken the right and was quickly accelerating away from the intersection. His subconscious had made the decision for him, and the result was now inevitable.
You did do some description though.
Yeah, I mean
the first girl you did anyway.
The one CJ, the description of CJ was the one that I was
No, this one's
for.
not CJ.
Is that?
This is the first girl, the girl he.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so anyway, so I'll read some of that to you when we get done.
I mean, you do have sort of a.
I want you to read the first kill scene.
I can't read.
Because I was in the bathtub reading it, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, oh, Kenny, we can't be friends with Rob anymore.
So that was the part. Yeah. That was the part. So you read that. But make sure you check out Foe. You can find Foe at robertandcheek.com. Check the tab for books. Or you can find it on Amazon. My Amazon author page is at Robert and Cheek, obviously. Foe is spelled F-A-U-X. You can also find Movement Insurrection. Coming in 2016 will be the Movement Insurgency, the sequel to that. And The Calls will also be coming up in 2016. Moving forward to some other stuff. So.
And now we're about to get into music, and with that there's going to be a new message going out.
Fantastic.
Facebook, so that we can retweet it. So all of Cryptic Wisdom's fans will see it again, because I think we've had a couple people bouncing in and out waiting for the music.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
but you do have a very Hemingway style kind of writing where it's short and sweet, direct, but at first I was thinking, okay, this is really, really, really long, but you're kind of progressing through.
Yeah.
The short and sweet stuff, but you're still progressing, which is...
And I hate that because that was not the one I would prefer to read to somebody.
Right.
The scene
Right.
describing CJ, I think, is much better than that. Didn't have that.
That first kill scene, though, I was like, damn, not only did she get her toes cut off, but he done fucking killed her.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
was like,
Okay.
God.
Yeah.
We'll come back to the book later.
All right, go ahead.
Because we're trying to get back into music a little bit, and
We never started.
Well, no, because it's been probably a month since we've actually talked about anything music
Yeah.
related. And I think 3 or 4 of the people that were bouncing in and out were people that have seen it because I tagged Cryptic Wisdom and his personal page in it. We're trying to come in. And,
Well, then I'm about
So-
to walk out.
Why?
I don't need to be here for the music part.
why not? You've heard enough time. Fine, do what you want.
Do what you gonna
Cover
do.
the camera.
Go down. I'm not covering the camera.
Please, come on so I can get up.
You do it any other time.
Get Kenny, come on. Or I will murder you.
You ain't murdering
And
nobody.
Rob's book will come true.
God damn it. Fine. Where's it at? Cryptic Wisdom. I wrote it down. An artist of many styles, from the funny with songs like Sell Out and Hate on Me to the serious
Sorry.
songs like Hang Yourself, Caught in the Matrix, and today's hot topic, Dear Donald. What'd she do, jump?
Yeah, she did.
She ain't hurt nobody?
Nope.
Fuck you, Kenny.
Hashtag fuck you, Kenny.
I'm okay with that. Anyway,
Hashtag Kenny gonna get fucking stabbed with a broken piece of glass.
okay. Anyway,
Cut off your fourth toe.
I don't use it.
And stab your Achilles tendon.
I don't use it.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, Cryptic Wisdom's been a pretty hot item over the last 4 or 5 days with his Dear Donald song that he just released.
Yep.
He has many types of styles, for anything from funny to the serious, covering suicide and depression and what to do to help stop that, to bullying in school. And, you know, today's hot topic was going political. Definitely a good one for Rod to be here for, because he knows more about the politics side than I do.
Well, and I do want to say before we even get started on it, make sure you check out crypticwisdom.com. That's CrypticWisdom.com. You can also find Cryptic Wisdom on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, all with that same spelling. And he has his own YouTube page, youtube.com/CrypticWisdomHQ. So you can make sure that you check out all his information there. So.
Yeah. Now, first off, when I first tagged you in it, it was from when I first tagged you in the video, it was just
raw
his
version.
Yeah, it was just his verse, and then I found the actual YouTube link. What were your thoughts after you actually got all the way through it?
Well, I mean, so here's the thing. So it's different for me, maybe because I actually know what's going on with Donald Trump. I don't know how much you're following what's going on with
I'm
Donald
hearing
Trump.
bits and pieces.
So, Donald Trump is running for president. He's a businessman, and he's a super racist. Basically said that not just all illegal immigrants, but all immigrants from Mexico were rapists and thieves, and
Which is bullshit.
right, and that they should all be sent back home, and basically advocated that they just be rounded up and sent back across the border. So I thought it was good because Cryptic Wisdom is of Latino descent, and I think his parents are immigrants. I don't know if he is, but I think at least his parents are.
They might be. I didn't get the chance to get up with him to get the detail on it. So.
Well, and he's obviously from Tucson, so in any event, he is there in the area where it's a big issue. And he basically called him out and said, you know, I am one of these people that you want to round up. And on Oh the Anthem, we've been talking about Donald Trump and all the nonsense that's coming about. And he basically said, let's bus people back to the border, build this huge wall, spend a ton of money building this huge wall to keep people out. And the whole message of the video is, well, one, I'm one of the people you want to bus out. Two, people are coming here for the same reason people have always come here. Opportunity and jobs and all that stuff. And
going way back to when this land was taken from the natives.
well, going all the way back to, I mean, frankly, part of my family is Native American, but the rest of it, if you go back to the Second Charter of Virginia, one of my ancestors' name is on the Second Charter of Virginia. And he didn't come Sir Hatton Cheek is on the second charter of Virginia. He didn't come. He had an older son, John. John was going to get everything in England, because the way that it works in England is that everything passes to the first son. So Thomas, his second son, said, hey, Dad, do me a solid, buy me passage on the ship. I'll go to the New World and make my own way. And so he did. He became part of the Virginia Company, and he sent his second son here, and even that was getting away from a system that was built for him to fail. Like, as a second son, he wasn't going to get shit. He was going to end up having to, like, beg at his brother's table the rest of his life. So from the second ship that came to America, to Virginia, it's been about getting away from something bad to somewhere new, a land of opportunity. And it's still continuing today. And it's just all this racist nonsense. So I thought it was just interesting that that Cryptic Wisdom just kind of came straight at him. I was just like, listen, I'm one of these people. And ironically, some of the lyrics in there, Donald Trump gets his clothing line made in Mexico. A lot of the products that he backs are made in Mexico. He has all these jobs that he wants to create in America. He's only creating jobs in Mexico now. And he's creating part of the problem, because he's keeping wages low in Mexico.
Yep.
And that's making people want to come here. So
That's how they keep their money.
Well, that's how any of
Sure.
these bastards keep their money, but
Right.
that's beside the point.
I was saying that doesn't mean it's a good thing, though.
No, it's not.
But still, this is supposed to be the land of freedom, right?
Right.
The American dream. Everybody wants to come here for that.
Yeah.
That's why our ancestors came here. But it's not going that way anymore, is it?
No, and I mean, so I also found it interesting that they used the. He actually used a Mexican rapper as well, and he had him.
I actually like that.
Me too.
I had to watch it like 4 times to figure out to read the titles because it was going faster than I
Right.
could keep up with.
Well, and here's what I'm saying, guys. It's 2015. We need to learn some Spanish. Can we learn a little bit of Spanish?
When you go to France, do they learn fucking English?
No. When you
So then
visit,
why, in America, do we have to learn fucking Spanish? What? That?
Because we're
Why?
a different country.
No, they don't matter.
So, number one, France is what we call a heterogeneous or
It don't matter.
homogeneous population.
It don't matter. When you go to fucking France, do they learn to speak English? Are they made to learn to speak English?
Okay.
Is uno número 1 for English? Is uno número 2 for Espanol or
Well,
French?
no, they don't speak a lot of Spanish there.
Well, you know what I meant.
Speaking. But actually, in France, option 1 would be French, option 2 would be English, and option 3 would probably be Arabic now, because they are adapting.
Islamic shit.
Because they are adapting to the
all
change in
fucking
population. Throughout most of history, Europe was very homogeneous. So everyone in France was French, and everyone in Germany was German, and everyone in England was English. But after they adapted to the new world and became the European Union and opened their borders, they have adapted to the society where when you go into a cafe, they greet you in whatever tongue the particular waiter happens to be most fluent in. For most of them, it's French. But if you go to the right cafe, they might greet you in English. If you go to a different cafe, they might greet you in Arabic. And then when you say, oh, sorry, English, they'll switch. Because unlike ignorant Americans, they know more than one language. In fact, most German students know 4 before they leave school. Most French students know 3 before they leave school. And most students in the Arabic world know 4 or 5 before they leave school. In fact, most students in the Arabic world have to learn at least French, English, and Arabic, plus their native tongue, wherever they are. They learn Arabic so that they can worship properly. They learn English because it's a world language. They learn French because other Arabic people speak French. And then they learn their native language, whether that's Egyptian or Indonesian or whatever native tongue it is from where they speak. And they do that just because they can, not because they have to. Because America is the only country that announces to the world that we are the greatest country in the world with absolutely no evidence to back it up.
I'm not saying that we are.
So, you say, why should I have to press 1? because there are people here from other places, and because that's the way that a world works when we're not going to just say screw everybody else.
And again, because it's supposed to be a land of opportunity for
Right.
everybody.
And
But it's not for everybody.
well, why not?
Why not?
Okay, so if I was an immigrant,
Right.
I would get, if I started a business, I would get 7 years of tax-free. As an American, if I start a business, I don't get shit.
Your ancestors were immigrants, so
It don't matter.
To be fair,
it don't matter now. But
to be
still.
fair, my ancestors got free labor for a very long time.
That's
Not
your
100 years.
ancestors. I'm talking
Right.
now.
Okay, but no, but see, but the ancestors, that generation of my family is what that person is for their children. They're coming here. They're giving up everything that they have to come here. Just like my ancestors gave up everything that they had to come here. And they've built out to where I am now. And eventually, will the children of that person have that advantage of the no taxes for 7 years?
Probably.
No, they won't. Because the children will be American citizens. They'll have the same thing that we do. But
Yeah, bro.
broke as everybody else. Or they'll take advantage of that system, unlike what most Americans have, and completely waste it. But we shouldn't, first of all, don't compare yourself to anybody else. And don't make excuses for failure. There is no excuse for failure. I'm in the situation I'm in because of my actions alone. And if I compare myself to somebody else, I'm just setting myself up for defeat. I've learned Spanish because there are people here who don't speak English. So, and you get to enjoy cultural fantasticness like Dear Donald and get a special little appreciation of the way that the Spanish versions of the song rhyme without necessarily reading the subtitles.
Yeah, before everybody got here and we were watching a video, which was shot in Mexico, you were telling me, as somebody who travels across America, there's a lot of places in America that look just like that, but nobody ever talks about it. So.
Well, and so that's the thing. I went to Detroit in October of 2014, and most of it looks a lot like. I've been to, in the last few years, 18 months, I've traveled to Hawaii, North Carolina. I've done a road trip to Detroit, which passed through most of the Rust Belt. I've been to New York, Baltimore about a dozen times, DC, Florida, all over the place. I see the same shit everywhere. It all looks like that, and we just don't talk about it. And we're like, oh, this poor Mexico, the country's falling apart. Our fucking country's falling apart. I mean, it's not that.
And somebody like Donald Trump is trying to blame it on.
Right. Well, okay, so, and here's the other thing about that. And not to get off on this topic, but you can get political power by finding someone to blame. There's a very, very real, very important example of a political leader who rose to power by finding a particular group to blame and then getting everyone else to blame that group and then getting into power and punishing that group. And we've seen this before. Patrick Henry said there is but one lamp by which I light my path, and that's the light of history. And people who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it. So what I see a person using racist and xenophobic language to build fear in the majority of the minority, and then making promises to do something about that fear once he's in power. Anybody, what's that sound like?
Communist.
No. Not communist.
Say it again, because
Okay, so a political leader who rises to power by getting the majority to blame a single minority group and then making promises that once they are in power, they're going to do something about that minority group. Hitler! There you go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the language that we're hearing now, and Hitler had a very heterogeneous country, or a very homogeneous country. It had a lot of Germans, and the only other group other than Germans were Jews. So it was easy for him to say, hey, it's all of us versus them. Donald Trump has the advantage of really having two groups to pick on and saying, for all your economic woes, here's the Mexicans. They're lazy, good-for-nothing people taking your jobs. Which, by the way, makes no fucking sense in the world. No. How are they lazy and taking your jobs? What does that say about you?
They're actually not lazy. They work harder than most
Yes,
Americans.
they're actually
and they work for less than what an American will. So,
but and then on the other hand, he also says, and you know why you're not safe is because of the Muslims. So we have two scapegoat groups, both of which, by the way, he wants to eliminate.
And Tech9 tackled that last year, which, if nobody knows, Tech9 is half Muslim. So.
I also enjoy Tech Nine. And we talked about that in one of the first episodes here. But I mean, so he has the ability to blame these people, and I think too few people are actually, and maybe it's turning because there. Apparently, I didn't watch the debate, but apparently there was a lot of calling him out on that last time about like all you're doing is just getting people fired up about this racist ranting.
Did he make one of his retarded comments about it? Like I've heard about his retarded comments where he'll say something, but it has absolutely nothing to do with somebody even asked him about.
Yeah, no, that's how he debates because he doesn't want to answer the question. He wants to give the answer that he wants to give, even if it doesn't apply to the question.
He just wants to give the answer that'll give him the votes.
Well, and so here's my question for you, Matt. Are you going to go pick tomatoes for $4 an hour?
If I had to, yeah.
If you had to.
But would I willingly? No.
Right.
But will they? Yeah.
Okay. So do you like paying...
I'd pay them $4 an hour to pick fucking tomatoes. I agree with it.
Okay.
I'm not saying that they should be deported.
So you want them here?
Yes. As long as they're legal and they come into the system legally.
So, and how do we accomplish that?
They cross the border legally.
Okay.
They get a passport or a green card.
All right.
Or stuff
so
like that. Just
from here
crossing
on
the
out,
border and coming in.
From here on out, let's say we fix it, and from here on out, everybody comes
If they do it by the books, they're more than welcome here.
So what do we do about the 20 million people who are already here?
Ship them to fucking Mexico.
All right, Donald. How exactly do we do that?
They have to apply.
How do we know who to get to apply?
You can't. That's the problem.
Right. So how do we do that?
There's no way to.
If you have a problem without a solution in mind, you are whining. So tell me what your solution is.
There is no solution.
I can come up with a solution, and I don't even think it's a problem. But nobody's going to like my solution, because it's going to sound really familiar.
Go ahead.
Everybody has to carry their ID on them. And upon demand, any police officer, maybe we just increase the ranks of the INS. Maybe we can just change their name to something else, like something simpler, like SS. And we'll give them like little lightning bolts to put on their collar. Yeah, let's call them the Secret Service. Let's expand it to the Secret Service. We'll give them little lightning bolts and put on their collar. And wherever they go, they can just demand papers from anybody. And you can pull out your papers, and you have to show them that you're a legal citizen. If you can't prove it, no matter who you are, they put you on a bus and they send you right back to Mexico.
That works.
All right, but what happens if you leave your wallet at home?
I guess you're going to fucking Mexico.
But shouldn't everybody have a chance to become a legal citizen rather than having to sneak into the country?
No, I was joking because that's actually a Nazi policy too.
I get that.
Just so that's clear, that was also a Nazi policy.
But I mean,
Daniel has joined us. Daniel, thank you for joining us. And as a reminder,
we stand behind Cryptic Wisdom too.
As a reminder, make sure that you do go to crypticwisdom.com. All of his merch is available at crypticwisdom.com. And you can check that out. Also go to the Facebook page, Cryptic Wisdom, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, youtube.com/Cryptic Wisdom HQ, where you can find links, cross-linked to all of that stuff. Make sure you pick up the new album, Tides of War 3. There's actually a download available on the homepage of crypticwisdom.com, or you can go to iTunes and download the full album there. And I think X's and O's is still available.
Yes.
Physical copies available on the website, or you can get the digital copies on iTunes as well.
And I've also used Cryptic Wisdom songs for paintball videos.
There you go.
In the past. So.
But I do like that somebody is taking it to Donald. I mean, you gotta, and here's the problem with, like, when Freddie Gray protested, I went up and protested, and Donald, I try to call Donald on his shit all the time, but I have maybe less standing than other people, because I'm not an affected party. I am a middle-class white guy. So, what do I have to say? I like that people of Latino descent are basically saying, fuck you, this is what we're going to do. So, and putting out a message, a positive message, I see it as positive anyway, against Donald.
I think everybody should have an equal chance to come to this country and make something of themselves. Not under the table or having to sneak into the country to get away from a shithole.
Yeah.
To make money that in turn they're going to send back to Mexico to help their families out. Everybody should have that equal chance to come here and try to do something.
No, I agree with that as well. Now, my plan back in 2002 was to to not invade, but to basically invite to create a greater American states and to say Canada and Mexico join us, which now probably would get me strung up by some of the people I hang out with who are conspiracy theorists.
Since America is all about helping other people, why don't we help them?
We have helped them. In fact, in '97 we bailed out Mexico and stopped them from having a default. So.
I don't mean by that. I meant by helping them build and rebuild.
We do that, but that's not the government's job to do that.
Well, we do it for everybody else, so why can't we?
No, well, we only pay to rebuild places that we blow up first.
Gotcha.
So here's the thing, the best thing that could happen to Mexico is if we declared war on them, because we would then go bomb them, but then we'd come in and rebuild everything. So it'd be great. And in fact, we kind of have done that, because the war on drugs here has leaked into and given power to the cartels there, and really just caused a whole bunch of nonsense there as well.
It's a whole shitstorm.
Yeah.
But, thank you again, Daniel. Yes, Donald is full of shit.
Yeah. And nothing but hate, and I'm glad. I mean, there was a lot of ways that that Cryptic Wisdom could have taken that video. It could have been very.
He could have made it very morbid.
Oh,
if he wanted to.
Could have gone hate filled and just like a bunch of hate back at him, but he didn't.
And he took it the best way possible that anybody could take it.
Definitely positive.
Asking questions, and I think the video is at like 50, 60,000 views at the moment.
Let's see, I think he had that posted. I feel like I should have had that ready to go.
Yeah, you probably should have had that ready to go, Mr. Researcher.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have any information about that. Hang Yourself has 500,000 plays right now, and I know that Dear Donald's newer than that, so I imagine that it's not.
Well, it depends, because it's a whole different subject. Hold
Right.
on. It's right at the top of my search history. So we'll go there real quick.
I know that he was featured in New and Noteworthy on iTunes, and that
51,000 views.
there you go. So, and hopefully more and more the more that we spread and share it. So I want to recommend that everybody go to Dirtyshore UG on Facebook. The video is on the main page there, and make sure you like and share the video. And go to Cryptic Wisdom on Facebook and like the page and share it from there as well.
Since I don't have the MP3 of the song, I think when this actually posts for the podcast, we should
stick it in there.
We should put the actual video underneath of it,
Sure,
so
absolutely.
people can check it out.
All right, yeah. So where are we at? Are we at like 50 minutes now?
We should be right around 50 minutes.
That is, yeah, 51 minutes. 52 minutes. So, any other thoughts? Any other comments? Any other hate speak over there, Matt?
No, I'm not. I don't hate anybody.
I think we got a rebel flag around here if you want to wave it around a little
No, I ain't fucking doing that shit.
You want to deport black people too?
No.
Send them back to Africa. No?
I'm not saying deport them.
What do you say?
Have them have a chance to become legal.
See, but again, what's
I just
your
don't
plan
like
to
the
do
fact that they run across the border.
Do you know how dangerous that trip is, though?
Oh, I'm sure it is.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing I don't get is that we were blessed by just
Being
born here. If we had to do half the shit that one legal immigrant.
Well, we did.
Number one. Do you think you could pass the civics test?
Fuck no.
Can you tell me 3 of the 10 amendments to the Bill of Rights?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. So you failed the exam to become a citizen right there. Can you name 3 of the presidents that were president before 1975?
George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and that's it.
Okay, how about anybody who's not on Mount Rushmore or born before 1975?
We're all fucked, ain't we? Except for you.
I would know both of those things. But, I mean, so that's a citizenship test. What's the Declaration of Independence?
Well, I'm not saying that they take a citizenship test.
No, but I'm saying that
They
people
just
who
have
come
to
here legally that eventually want to become citizens
Get papers,
take a
that's
test.
all I'm asking.
You just get popped out. Hey, enjoy all the blessings of
Well,
freedom.
then all they have to do is put their name on a fucking piece of paperwork. That's all I'm asking. Is put your name on paperwork so you get a social security number.
So,
That's
but
all I'm
again,
asking.
the other side of that
Well,
though is
Cryptic Wisdom even said in the song that most Mexicans are willing to work, even with the taxes and all that being there.
All right, so
I just want them to apply to get a.
But a lot of them ain't even given a chance.
They should be given the chance.
Daniel, I know we're actually Maryland. I know it seems like the North is actually pretty much the South. I was joking with Matt. Sorry about that. But anyway, the whole point I'm making is though that what he says in the song is there's 5 million people waiting in line. There are 5 million people waiting in line.
All 5 million a chance.
And so how do you do that?
You open up 5 million fucking offices. I don't know.
See, no,
5
this is the
million
thing, this is
officers.
the thing. Everyone's looking for an acute kind of solution when
Right.
it's just not realistic. It's really not. You can have acute, you can have very minor. This sounds really oxymoronic, but you can have really acute solutions to minor problems. But to fix the entire thing, it's not going to be a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year fix. It's just not. I mean, if you look at the numbers of what you have.
Yeah,
Well, no. So here's the easy fix. The easy fix is this: reinstate the Bracero program. The reason that migrants started coming here at all is because we had a program in the '60s called the Bracero program, which meant people could come up, work for the growing season, which in California was basically all year long, and then they would go back home and they would come back. They would be given temporary numbers. They could come up, and in I think '68 or '69 they just ended the program and didn't tell anybody. And the first wave of illegal immigration was people who just showed up at the farm where they had worked for the last 15 years, and they were like, yeah, we can't pay you because that number that you've been using doesn't exist. The program doesn't exist anymore. And they said, well, we're here to work. And they said, okay, well, usually we pay you $10 an hour because that's how much we'd have to pay you in the Bracero program. But if you do it for $5, we'll just pay you cash. And thus the whole problem started because people kept working, doing the same jobs they were doing before at less pay, and in more dangerous circumstances without the benefit of the Bracero program, which was a federal program that looked out for them. So reinstate that program. It's temporary visas for people who come in just to work. And that's all they want to do. Work visas, essentially. And people are kept track of, not... I mean, there's ideas about RFID chipping people, which is ridiculous.
But I don't want to be on Demolition Man.
No, but... I mean, the idea of getting a visa that you just, wherever you go to work, you just go there and work, and then when you want to leave, you can leave and come back. The biggest concern for people, the reason they hide out so much is, once they leave, they don't want to come back. Or once they leave, they don't think they'll be able to come back. So they stay here. If you stop the concern of the concern of leaving and coming back, then people would have free passage, and it wouldn't be such a problem anymore. And the families being divided up, and the strain on, and if the Bracero program gave people essentially an employee ID number, so they were paying taxes. But the big myth is that all of these immigrants don't pay taxes. They do. In fact, they're paying taxes and not getting the benefit of the taxes. Donald Trump pays Social Security taxes on the first $129,000 of his income, which means if I make $129,000 a year, and he makes $129 million a year, we pay the same amount into Social Security.
And bullshit.
You want to know how to fix Social Security? Stop that.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger thing about that's bullshit is somebody who's working as a migrant, who's paying into Social Security, and when they turn in 65, they say, fresh out of fucking luck, you're not a citizen, you don't get a Social Security check. So they've been paying in for years and years and years, and they never get a benefit from it. Those people who pay taxes, who have no children here because their kids are still back in Mexico. So they're paying taxes and also sending part of their paycheck back to Mexico or Guatemala or Panama or Colombia or Venezuela or Brazil or Argentina, wherever their people are from, and they're sending their check back after taxes, after they're already paying money to the government, and they're not getting any benefit.
So then they essentially live like we do.
Yeah. Worse than that.
Yeah, a lot worse than this.
At least we're able to get some of our stuff back.
Yeah,
Because they want to keep their family straight, which is what you do when you have a family. You make sure your family's right before you are.
And keep this in mind too, that you have a natural fear of the police just because you're a scaredy cat. I don't have a fear of the police because fuck the police. But
Not all police.
Hey,
Most
not
of
true. Because you pulled the aux cord when you're playing fuck the police going down the highway with 8
That's
drunk
'cause you don't
bitches
wanna
in your
get
fucking
fucked
car.
that's because I had too many people in the
Scaredy
car,
cat.
and I wasn't trying to get pulled over with that many
Scaredy
people
cat.
in the car.
You can't say fuck the
but
police.
still, that's almost like the same thing with immigrants.
Well, no, my whole point was
You
this:
got
is
your good
that,
and bad in every circle.
but no, my whole point was this: is that if you were a victim of a crime, the first thing you would do is say, call the police. They can't.
No, you can't.
Because they are scared of getting the police involved in anything. So, landlord treats them like shit? Oh well. Water stops working? Oh well. Toilet backs up into the house? Oh well. No drinkable water? Oh well. Somebody robs them, somebody rapes them, they're victims of violent crime, car gets stolen, house gets broken into. Oh well. You're out of luck. They don't get the same benefits. They are a second-class citizenry. If you want to find out about this, read Brave New World. We are on our way to the society in Brave New World, where we're divided by classes A, B, C, D, and E, and certain classes get certain benefits. The A's don't work at all, and they get all of the benefits, and the C's are breaking their backs and working, and they get some of the benefits, and the E's are getting none of the benefits. They're being dumbed down by everything that's, by the way, fluoride in the water. Do some research about fluoride in the water. They're being dumbed down by the treatment that they get from the A's, and they are working and getting none of the benefits.
That's
That's
Huxley,
what-
right?
Yeah, Aldous Huxley.
Okay.
Make sure you
I
Brave
read
New
that.
World. Yeah, definitely read. But now, back to the subject at hand. I am glad that in a world where Lil Wayne sells 20 million albums
Fuck
and
yeah. Fuck him.
no, I'm sorry. In a world where Lil Wayne sells 40 million albums and Immortal Technique sells 400,000 albums.
And again, even with that, Wayne shouldn't be making that much. Immortal Technique should be getting that.
I
many
agree.
records sold.
But in
Tech
a world-
9 or Tech 9. Well, Tech 9's got that now, but Cryptic Wisdom should be probably getting about that much because he speaks on a lot of real
Right.
stuff.
And that's what I say. In a world where everything's so monetized, I'm glad that there are people who take the time to make music with a message. So if he ever sees this, thank you. Keep doing the good music that you're doing. Make sure you check out Tides of War 3. There is a download available on crypticwisdom.com, or you can get the full 10-song album on iTunes. Make sure you check out X's and O's. It's still available on iTunes. You can also get the physical album as well as any of the merch on crypticwisdom.com. Check out Cryptic Wisdom on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and youtube.com/Cryptic Wisdom HQ. And check out the video, Dear Donald. I think is it hashtag Dear Donald?
Yep.
Hashtag
That's
Dear
what he's
Donald.
got for it. At the end of the video, it says if you support this, do Dear Donald.
So make sure you go on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere, hashtag Dear Donald.
There's actually a girl that I'm friends with from the Philly area. She's a model and shit. The other day she posted on her Facebook, if you're voting for Trump, delete me now.
Yeah.
So instantly I took the moment to help Cryptic Wisdom out. I posted the video into the comments and it's like, look, I understand what you're saying. Check out this video. Anybody supports it, continue with it. And then below that you just see a bunch of people. It's like, well, then we can't be friends no more. I'm just like, well, then the only reason you were friends with her was just because you wanted to see her in her bra and panties, and not because she has her own political views about shit.
Well, and I always keep friends around of all different types because otherwise I like to keep shit out in the light. You know, well, I like to keep shit out in the light too. I like to know what people are thinking and what people are saying, and I always say confront. I mean, again, just like making the video, confront things directly instead of just letting shit lie in the shadows. So, is there anything else?
Yeah, there is one more thing else.
Yeah.
One more time, thank you to Daniel.
Yes, thank you for joining us in the comments, Daniel.
Ready? Corey Baker!
Oh, God.
How the fuck have you never seen any Star Wars movies? Ever!
What?
Corey Baker has never seen a Star Wars movie.
The co-host of the Eddie Anthem podcast, we talked about it this week, the new episode this week. Corey admitted he'd never seen Star Wars, any of the movies.
Not one!
Not one, not even for a little bit.
How have you not
I
seen
did not
4,
see
5,
any
and
of them.
6?
No interest, I suppose. That's what he said.
2 and 3 I understand.
But yeah, I saw 1, 2, and 3 in college, so you would think that he would have gone.
But I
he
bet
just
you
never
seen
went.
4, 5, and 6 when you were little.
Probably like a teenager, maybe, because my parents weren't into movies,
So
so.
what's the story behind them making 4, 5, and 6 first before 1, 2, and 3?
Because they.
I know there's a story behind it.
They're probably the most exciting of the 3.
Lucas said he had scripts for 1 through 9.
Yeah. Well, loosely 1 through 9.
Yeah, loosely through 1 through 9, and 4, 5, and 6 focused on the main parts of the movie that he wanted to put out, and that's what he ended up putting out. And then, what was it, 99 when episode 1 came out?
Was it 2000?
You been catching up on
99, 2000, something like that.
Right around there.
It was
So-
2004 when second came out, and then 2000. No,
6?
2003, 2005 is when
Right.
3 came out.
Yeah, I was in college for both those.
So yeah, 4, 5, and 6 was the most interesting part of the story for him. So those came out, and
Well, and it was also the one, you gotta remember it was a studio, so you gotta do the one you
So is
get
this number
past.
7?
So this is 7.
So,
Force Awakens is 7. Well, I mean, and I did the same thing. Insurgency, Insurrection was. I wrote a story that spanned what's going to end up spanning 3 books. The most interesting part was the middle portion, the original war, and I think that we can see, at least from the first 3, that the most interesting part was the middle 3 movies. It's when we start to catch up to the uprising and with the Jedi returning, that kind of stuff. Imagine if the first one had been the first movie that came out, people would have just been like,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, and that would have been it. He wouldn't have made it anymore. So,
Is anybody else following the 12 Days of Deadpool?
I'm following because you're following and you tag me and everything.
I can't help it because I know you like Deadpool too.
I do.
But
I'm excited.
That one today was funny as shit though. The second I seen that shit, I'm like, hold on. And I wasn't even drinking yet, and I was like, this is gonna be funny. Because I watched Home Alone 1 and 2 a week or so ago.
I couldn't give a shit less about
Has he ever seen Home Alone 1 and 2?
Yes, I'm sure he has. I don't know for sure, but I'm sure he
Yeah.
has. But,
Corey.
I would hope.
Fucking find out. But, speaking of Christmas, we are, 1 week away? A little less than a week away.
Next
Friday.
Friday.
So, if you have any last-minute Christmas shopping to do, make sure, and we all know you're going to do it through Amazon, not go out to a store, because who the hell goes out to a brick-and-mortar store anymore? Make sure that you click on the Amazon link through DirtyShoreUnderground.com, right there on the home page, or on any of the individual pages. For any of these posts, you will find a link to Amazon. Click on the link, go through that way, just do your shopping as per usual. Nothing changes for you. You don't have to pay anything extra, but Amazon gives us a little taste as a thank you for sending you to them. So make sure you go to DirtyShoreUnderground.com, not only for new episodes of the podcast, but for all your shopping needs. Make sure you click through at Amazon and go shop there and enjoy your Christmas shopping. So
Next Tuesday, we're going to do a Christmas special, in a sense, because
Grinch.
my daughter's been begging to do a podcast with us, so I think next week we're going to do one and let her be involved, and we'll talk to her about Christmas.
And I'm going to give her a shit ton of sugar before we start.
Please don't.
And then I'm going to leave as soon as we're done.
She's going home with you.
I'll bring some glucose space. It's just straight sugar.
Well, yes. Can we give it to her intravenously?
That reminds me, while we're on the music subject,
Yeah.
fuck Christmas music.
I'm so fucking sick. Here's the thing, the weather is not helping either. I'm usually a Grinch, but the weather not being very cold.
Try being in a ride for 30 minutes with an old guy. That's all he wants to listen to.
That's why nobody touches the fucking
Going to the
radio.
Double T Diner.
Nobody touches the fucking
Have you
radio
walked
in
into
my car.
any stores in the last
Nope.
week or so?
Nope. I don't shop.
The only place I've been walking to is
So you haven't
Wawa.
been to Rural Farms for your coffee in the morning?
Nope.
Or
I
take
make
a
my own
piss?
coffee. Nope.
Since when?
I go out at times when it's busy, so
Since
still gotta
when
take a
do you make
piss.
your
I
own
make my own
coffee?
coffee every morning.
You still gotta
Since
take a
when?
piss at some point.
I literally left work. I was in my car the whole time until I got home. Yeah, man.
I would have pissed myself.
I'm not a little girl, so I have a man's bladder.
You got
And
bladder issues, motherfucker.
Pee in a cup, dump it out.
I wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, we'd be doing that.
The rest of your disaster. And obviously, Kenny is down the hat. A big thank you, as always, to Oasis. You've seen us vaping all the way through the episode. Harry here, our favorite employee, one of our favorite employees of Oasis. Make sure you check out next week's episode. Next week, that will drop. No, I guess we'll probably preempt it for the Christmas episode. So
Yeah,
coming up in a few weeks.
I gotta finish edit the 3.0 stuff together, but I think
Yeah.
that'll probably come out tomorrow.
Well, if you get it to me, then we can do it tomorrow. Because right now it's 2.5.
Well, I'm working on it because 2.5 was like an in-betweener, so it's okay if that stays on YouTube.
If you get it to me, we can do it.
I got it all downloaded. I just gotta splice the shit together because
Alright.
there's a couple minutes of missing shit because of the internet,
Right.
and then afterwards I found out Periscope only holds the videos for 24 hours.
Yeah, you have to save it to your gallery.
Yeah, well, it didn't give me the option to when I ended the video.
Ah.
So,
Nonetheless,
it fucked me there, so we're going to re-edit the close-up stuff.
sure. As you
This
can see,
weekend.
though, I have switched to the eVic VTC Mini, thanks to Harry and his wonderful salesmanship the other day. So, as always, a big shout out to Oasis Vapor, North 6th Street in Denton. Make sure you check out Oasis Vapor on Facebook. Check out the shop here in Denton. whether you're just starting out, whether you're trying to quit smoking like me, I am now 4 days cigarette free. I think, yeah, 4 days cigarette free. So very exciting stuff from there. So whether or not, actually more than that.
I was
Shit.
gonna say, how long did it take you to finish that pack of cigarettes?
I finished that.
It's been a week.
When you set that up, what was that?
It was last Wednesday when we did that.
Holy fuck! It has been a week. No cigarettes in a week. Look at that.
There you go.
No cigarettes in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no cigarettes in a week for me. And so if you're looking to quit smoking, this is a great way to quit smoking. Or if you're a hobbyist and you're really getting into it, no matter what phase you're in, go to Oasis Vapor. They can help you out. Just got some new stuff in. Make sure you check out the podcast tomorrow or last week, depending on when you're checking this out. Up at Smoke 3, where we did a live. We did a live one just from Oasis, so you can get all your information about that there. Anything else? Dirtyshore UG on Twitter and Facebook. DirtyshoreUnderground.com for the new episodes of the podcast every Thursday. Make sure you check out RobertEdCheek.com. You can find links to my books, to my blog, everything there. If you like just my political rantings here, you're going to find way more of that there, and at FoundingTheFuture.us. Anything else, guys?
We now have a running joke.
What's that?
The black X is still in the window.
And nothing will ever happen from it.
What would happen that if I just leave that sitting there and like one day in a month or two you get a fucking call and
I'll be happy.
and somebody like you're not even here, you're at home.
I haven't been picking up unknown calls, so maybe I should start picking them up again.
And they go,
through.
why have you been talking about us?
Huh? Who knows?
Actually, no, I've been getting random calls and it's the same ass number, but then I realized, oh, it's LabCorp. They want my money. I'm like, damn.
I think it'd be funny if we show up to do a podcast one day and then Rob's just like, I've been getting weird calls for the last 2 days.
Alright guys, so let's bring this train wreck in for a landing. So, DirtyShoreUnderground.com.
Trains can't make landings.
DirtyShoreUnderground.com, Dirtyshore UG, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube.com/C/Dirtyshore UG-OTA. Thank you guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Good night. Oh, can't see it. There it is.
Cincinnati's can be politically correct.
Never.
Never. Why would I be? That's the fun. Good night, everybody.
Now, when you download stuff on your PS4, is it slow as shit?
No.
Okay, because it was for me. It took like 2 days to download something.
What'd you download?
Christ.
A game.
PS4?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's
You
done.
have a PS4?
Yeah, my mom's boyfriend bought one. He had a PS3, so he said I might as well get a new one.
Hardwired or Wi-Fi?
It's Wi-Fi.
That's why.
Mine's done before when I left to go to GameStop and then back and stuff.
His house is so fucking stupid. None of the switches in my room work for any outlet, and the switch for like that light will probably be downstairs. The switch for your bedroom will probably be in the kitchen. It's such a weird ass fucking
Very
house.
well done.
PS4 has an old Wi-Fi chip in it. So to get the faster speed, like with the newer phones, you get the 5.0 and the gigahertz.
Yeah.
That still runs about 2.4.
Okay.
So if you want the faster speed, you got to hardwire it.
See, that's the thing. He doesn't have any hardwire.
That's why
He also
power
has
line
two
adapter.
fucking routers, which makes no sense to
that
me.
makes it worse also.
Run a power line adapter.
His house is just a fucking mess. I told him, look, let me set up your internet so that way it works better. And he's just like, yeah.
And so
Maybe.
we can play, whatchamacallit?
Yeah. Oh, are your ports blocked? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, let me check on you.
No, you shouldn't have to hardwire it. It should be 10.0.0.0.0.1.
Well, it's not that. I was going to go on the website. It shows me.
Alright, you do that.
You would have to hardwire it into the modem.
Matt might know. He's played,
Does he have a router set up?
Ken, do you have a router or is it just hooked to the modem?
it's hooked into the regular modem.
So you're hardwired directly into the modem.
Pretty much. Well, Wi-Fi into the regular.
You don't have a router?
No.
Okay.
Give me that.
Damn, I got 140
What are you
bucks.
checking?
Ports, because ISPs can block ports. I've been trying to set up my Tekkit server, and I thought at first, okay, like, I've set up servers before for WoW and all the other stuff, so I know how to do it, like, network-wise, but sometimes it's a little bit different, but I haven't set one up in a long while, so I thought, okay, I just don't know what, where to put my info for setting up the server. So tried it with an IP, didn't work. Tried it on a different port, that didn't work. Tried it, cause see the thing is, it's weird. I have the modem, and then there's the router.
You have to open the port in the router.
I did.
You did?
I port forwarded. I used the DMZ, didn't work at all. And I thought, okay, maybe it's just my computer messing up because the way that mine setup is, I don't have any hard wire in my room. I have to use my laptop, which is hooked up to my desktop. I'm using a Wi-Fi card.
Is it bridging it?
Huh?
You're like bridging it?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. So I thought, okay, maybe I just got my numbers wrong because I'm trying to go through the desktop. So I went through the computer, the laptop, and it has its own